John from S&S Cycle here. Today we're going to be doing an oil change on a 2006 Harley Davidson Sportster 883. Some things to note before doing the oil change. What you will need. Oil change kit, S&S Cycle. Comes with 4 quarts of oil and a premium oil filter. Some tools you'll need to do the oil change. To get the oil filter off, some applications might ask for a 11/16 socket wrench. You will need a flathead screwdriver, or you can use a cup socket to get the oil filter off, or a universal strap to get the oil filter off. Let's go ahead and get started on the oil change. With this oil change procedure, it will work for most Sportster models. This process will be very similar for 04 and up Sportster models. For the first step, you'll need to remove the oil plug in the oil bag. And just set it off to the side. For the next step, you need to find the oil line that you will drain the oil from. Usually located underneath right here. It has a hose clamp on it with a plug inside of it. This is a special plug that will mount to the frame itself, but it will be very similar. Reach in with the flathead screwdriver, loosen the hose clamp, and remove the oil plug. Make sure you have your oil pan underneath to catch the oil. When you remove the oil plug, oil will start to funnel out. After removing the oil plug, let the oil drain. While the oil is draining right now, we're going to move over to the next step and remove the old oil filter. We're in luck right now and it has a socket end on it, so we're going to use the 11/16 socket to crack it open and loosen it up a little bit. And to catch any extra oil that may come out of the oil filter, we have a catch funnel with a hose attached to it. We slide up underneath. Now that the old oil filter has been removed, we're going to take a rag and just clean up the inside here, making sure we get any and all excess oil out of the way, all the old oil, making sure that it's nice and clean for a new filter to be installed. Now that the oil is drained out of the motorcycle, we're going to replug it. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at our hose clamp. It's always good to check it, make sure that it's still in good condition. No breaks in the lines or anything like that. And it will be secure when we plug it back in. This one seems to be good. And we will plug back in our oil plug and tighten it down. Now that we've replugged the oil line and the oil is completely drained, we're going to install the new oil filter. Before installing the new oil filter, take some new oil on your finger, just dip your finger in there, rub it around the top of the new oil filter. This helps it seal it for good secure suction. And before installing it, we are going to preload the oil filter with about 4 ounces of oil. Just to help the circulation of the motor when it first starts. Now after preloading the oil, go ahead and mount it. You screw on by hand. It's hand tight. You do not need a wrench for this to install the new oil filter. Once you get to a point that it's good and tight, you may need a rag. Wipe up anything that's left over, if you do have anything. Once the motor starts, the oil filter will seal shut. Now that the oil plug has been reinstalled and we have installed the new oil filter, we're ready to add new oil. We're going to start off with 2 quarts using a oil funnel into the oil bag. Now that we've added the new oil, we're going to plug it back up, cycle the engine for about 2 minutes to 5 minutes to make sure all the oil gets through, and then check the level again. Now that you have cycled the motor, we're going to check the oil level on the dipstick itself. And it's about half right now. We can probably add another half quart. We'll double check the oil level one more time. And again, it's about half. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and add in half quarts at a time. You don't want to add in full quarts at a time, because the more oil you put in, you will have to take out. It's harder to remove than add. We're going to go ahead and add in a half quart. Remember, half quarts at a time to a quarter quarts at a time. You don't want to add in too much oil, because then you'll have to remove it if you're over. Okay, it's about a half right there. Now that we let it sit for a couple seconds, let's add the dipstick back in and check the oil level. And right at the full line. One more check. Again, right at the full line. With that being said, now that you have it at the full line, you want to cycle the engine one more time and check the oil, and it should be perfect. And there you have it, as easy as that. Step-by-step oil change on a 2006 Harley Davidson Sportster 883R. For more information about the S&S Cycle Oil Kit, please visit sscycle.com.